Hey everyone, Tony Winston here at Jazz Piano College, and I'm going to do a little tutorial on Goodbye Pork Pie Hat. I recently put this up, just kind of played it, and improvising over this song can be a challenge, but I think it could be pretty easy. Let's just take a look at the song real quickly. So. One thing I've noticed about this song is it is a 12-bar form, and if you look at it carefully, you can see that it is like a blues song. And so the blues scale, the F minor blues scale, I've called these two blues scales happy and sad, or, cheerful or dark or whatever, but let's just call them major and minor. The minor blues scale would be this. And the major scale would be this. All right, so we're going to use the minor almost the whole way through here. So it fits great over that. And then when we get to G flat major, you just got to pick the notes that sound right in the blues scale. These two don't sound that great. The C is all right. And there over the B, those notes work pretty well. And the whole scale works great here. All right. So, how can we think of this like the blues? If you change a few chords here, like, all right, so it's almost a 1-6-2-5 here. But it's kind of like in the wrong key, so it kind of shifts out of key for a second there. So I just went to D, and then to G, and then to C. See, everything was a half step above there. So it's kind of like a 1-6-2-5 with some weirdness thrown in. And then we've got all right, so that would be like the first line of the blues. If you see my milk cow, won't you drive her on home? And then we get to the second four measures, and it goes to the 4 chord. It happens to be the minor 4 chord, but that's where the blues goes. So let's take a look at that. If you see my milk cow, won't you drive her on home? And there, it would typically go F down to, say, the 6th chord right there where the D flat is. And then we get the last 4 bars. I ain't had no cream or butter since my milk cow's been gone. And once again here you could think F, the 6th chord, the 2 chord, and the 1 chord. And you see it is almost that. It's just a half step low. And this is kind of like an Art Tatum turnaround anyway. And then C7th instead of B7th. So, and then, the B7, that's kind of a weird chord to get back to F, right? Because it's not dominant motion, it's the same chord. It's like a tritone substitution. It kind of works, it kind of doesn't. So let's use the blues scale all the way through and just see what the hell happens. So the B flat doesn't sound too good. Let me try it again. I probably went off into something there. And then, the last 2 bars really have the same chords as the first 2 bars. So it's that weird turnaround. Now, if you want to use more exotic scales, we can certainly do that. So one thing, I'm going to do a kind of a introduction to jazz video one of these days. And basically, harmonically, jazz harmony comes down to this. The flat 5 and the flat 9. All right. I mean, if you go to the roots of jazz, they just use those two notes a lot, and it just gives the jazz its classic sound. So let's use a little of that. All right, so the flat 5 is actually a great note to use on the D flat. So the scales I used, I'm just using the blues scale on F. I'm using parts of the major blues scale. All right, so let's do that. All right, and then G flat. And then a B. So just use the same idea on each chord, right? It's the major blues scale, then on D flat, same thing here, and same thing here. All right, now we got B flat minor. So B flat minor. We're going to use almost the same scale on D flat. The only difference would be that one note there, all right? And now we've got a 2-5 here in the key of F, so we can just use typical stuff. Now G7 and D flat 7th are really the same chord, a tritone away, a tritone sub. So, I kind of just I'd rather stay on D7 for a little bit longer. Like that, maybe. And then, the blues scale works great here, but you can find those flat 5s. Notice the flat 5 there is F, the key we're in, so we definitely want to use that. Use the flat 5 there. So on dominant chords, that's where you use these, that's where you use the flat 5 and the flat 9. Now also, if it's a major 7th chord, that's not the key that you're in, the flat 5 works there pretty nicely too in the major scales. So G flat major scale with, instead of the 4th, you use the flat 5 there. All right, so one more time through it, just using a lot of blues scale and all kinds of crap that I come up with. Who knows what it'll be. Jeff Beck had the right idea. He just did like 2 chords, like F to B flat or something, and soloed on that. And then when he played the melody, then all the chords were pretty much accurate. But for the improvisation section, he took the easy way. And really, it makes the song a little bit more listenable, because this is kind of a weird set of chords. It's an odd chord progression. Kind of reminds me of Frank Zappa's America Goes Home and Drinks. It's a weird chord progression. And by the way, my friend Rick Hinkle has done a marvelous job of recording that song. And I always thought that song sounded kind of weird. The chords didn't really make any sense, but by using the flat 5 on the dominant chords, he really made the song kind of flow in a very nice and jazzy way. So my previous impression of that song has now changed to, hey, that's a pretty good song. Anyway, I will try to link to his recording of that song, though I don't know if it actually exists in the public domain yet. I've got a recording of it. I don't know. I'll have to ask him and see if I can put it up there at some point. You'll enjoy it. So I intend to focus a little bit more on beginners here for the next couple of months. Thanks for subscribing, and stay tuned. And I'll be working more on the blues and some easy jazz pieces, and going over a lot of the stuff I've gone over a million times. But I'm just going to keep putting it out there because I get new subscribers all the time. And thank you very much.